Hello, my amazing kings and queens. King Moreland here. As you know, I'm on a mission to help you unlock your full potential and become the best versions of yourself. So, whether you're facing challenges, chasing dreams, or just looking to level up in life, you come to the right place. Every week, we dive deep into strategies, mindset shifts, and practical tools that will help you transform your life from the inside out. So, this is your channel, your personal development channel, so that you can become the powerhouses that you are meant to be in the world. A channel where mediocrity is not an option and excellence is our standard. So, if you're ready to join a community of passionate individuals committed to growth, such as yourself, please hit that like button, please hit that subscribe button, and go ahead and hit that bell so you're notified whenever I drop new content. And let's continue the journey together. All right. So, as always, we have to get our friendly disclaimer out the way. And I actually have another disclaimer to give on this episode, but more on that in a bit. All right. Before we get into the video, I need you to know that I am not a psychologist, not a therapist, not a licensed mental health professional at all. I am an educator and a content creator, so nothing that I say in this video should be taken as professional, medical, therapeutic, or psychological advice. Please understand that I am coming from a perspective of personal experience, self education, and independent research with the intention of helping you all and giving you tools, but not diagnosing you or treating you. Please take everything that I say with a grain of salt and understand that I'm coming from a perspective of an educator and a content creator. So, that being said, if you have any emotional distress, severe trauma, or depression, or you feel overwhelmed, I strongly, can't say this enough, I strongly encourage you to seek help from a licensed mental health professional. All right. My goal here is to provide you with a starting point and tools that you can use in the meantime. But I would love for you to go get actual psychological mental help from a professional. Okay. And please use your discernment and take responsibility for your own healing journey. But I hope this content does help. All right. Here's my second disclaimer. This episode is not necessarily for my younger viewership. So please watch a different video. All right. You'll find out why I said that later. Anyways, let's get into it. This is episode 5, Healing from the Heartbreak Monster. How you recover and move on. Now, piggybacking on what I just said, this video is about healing from heartbreak. If you are a student, it's highly likely that you've not gone through this yet, right? So, if you're part of my younger viewership, go ahead and watch a different video and come back later on in life when it actually applies to you, okay? So, as we get started, I want to say something important and honest. Not everybody goes through heartbreak. I know, shocking, right? Not everybody has to go through heartbreak. You know, some people actually fall in love and they spend the rest of their lives with that person. And they pretty much get to live happily ever after. But if you clicked on this video, guessing that's not your story, man, there's a good chance that somebody you love has left. Somebody you trusted is gone. Someone you imagine a future with hurt you and is no longer a part of your life. And maybe they betrayed you. Maybe they chose someone else over you. Maybe they stopped loving you. Maybe they began entertaining the possibility of being with someone else. However, they broke your boundaries or shattered your trust, they have now left you carrying the pieces of a broken heart all by yourself. So, I'll be honest. I've tried to keep most of this healing trauma series gender neutral, but I'm not going to be able to do that with this video. And the reason being is I am a man, and I've encountered heartbreak trauma as a man. So I'm just going to be honest here. I have to make this video specifically for men. Does not mean that if you're a woman, you can't learn from the video, because you can. Some of the methods that I'm going to address can help both genders, but it is coming from a perspective of a man. So if you run into information that doesn't really apply to you, please understand this video is kind of catered to men. Plus, the other reason I did this is, we're just being honest here. There is a lot of places and spaces in this world where women are allowed to talk about their traumas, their heartbreaks. They're allowed to cry. They're allowed to be vulnerable. But let's just be honest. It's not really like that for men. Men don't have many spaces where they're able to be vulnerable and talk about the different things that they're going through, especially not heartbreak. You know, when we talk about heartbreak, we tend to get laughed at, and it's not usually a safe space, right? Where, as men, we're taught to act tough, act as if it didn't happen, act as if it didn't impact us at all. We're taught to say things like, "Oh man, it is what it is," or "I'm good," or "Man, I don't even care, bro." Like, that's what we're taught to do. But the truth is, we just being honest about it. A lot of us do care. A lot of us are hurting, and we just don't know if we're allowed to say it. And if we are allowed to say it, where can we say it? Because if we say it on public platforms like this one, we get ridiculed. If we say it in private, sometimes we can say it to the wrong person, and that information is now used against us. So, with that being said, if you are a man and you are watching this video and you are heartbroken, I need you to know, and I want you to know, that this can be your safe space. And I would also encourage you to not share certain things with certain people, because they might use it against you. And that's unfortunate, but it happens. Go and get some mental help, talk to a therapist about it, talk to a psychologist, talk to somebody who literally can't share because they have laws that protect you under confidentiality. All right. So that's my first tidbit of advice right there. But listen, if you're watching this video, you don't have to pretend here. You don't have to act like you're okay and you're not, because I've been where you are. And I know that the best way for you to deal with this monster, the heartbreak monster, the best way to befriend it is to face it head on. And today, that's exactly what we are going to do. All right. So let's start with acknowledging what you might be feeling. Every one of these videos, I want to essentially get into the headspace that you might be in. All right. So I need you to understand that heartbreak trauma can affect every part of your life. All right. So you might be experiencing things like this, constantly thinking about them. I know, I've been there. Or playing those memories over and over, wondering what you did wrong, what you could have did better, feeling like you weren't enough, comparing yourself to the other person that they either chose or entertained. You might start losing your motivation to do anything. You might start feeling angry. You might start feeling devastated. You might stop taking care of yourself and developing poor hygiene. This stuff happens. All right. You might lose your appetite. You might stop eating properly, or you may start preferring to only eat junk food like cookies and ice cream just because you want to feel better, right? It gets that dopamine going, but it's not good for you. But you just want to feel better so bad that now you're harming yourself and with your physical health because you're eating poorly. Or you might feel embarrassed that you cared so much about her and she did you like that. And sadly, This one's really sad. Might be one of those guys that have listened to the media tell you that it makes you weak to feel your feelings, even though you're human. So sadly, you might be acting as if you're over it while secretly you're actually hurting. And here's one of the saddest, hardest parts about heartbreak. It's the fact that you can lose her without her dying. She's still alive. She's somewhere out there. And she's somewhere out there with someone else. Because whether she's with someone else or not, she's no longer yours. And that can be one of the strangest, hardest kinds of forms of grief there is, because you still go through grief because you have to experience losing a person, but it's so much different than like the person like passing away because they're still out there. And I'll just be real. This type of trauma can cause you pain that makes you want to completely shut your heart off and not feel anything. And you hear it in songs, right? I know you heard the song from Wild Wave, Heart on Ice, or maybe you heard the Little Baby song where he talks about his heart being frozen, right? There, a lot of people talk about it, right? But they don't have these spaces where they can like share it so openly, and that's unfortunate. So I kind of want this video to serve as a place where you can do that. So go ahead and share your stories in the comment section. I'll try to respond to as many of them as I can, because I don't want you to shut yourself off completely. I don't want you to be saying things like, oh man, I'm never going to love nobody again. I'm never going to trust nobody again. Like, when you feel that way, I get it, I understand it, but it closes you off to so many different opportunities, and it's not a good thing. And I need you to understand overall that this happens to people. You know, it's nothing wrong with hurting. You're hurting because you cared about her, because you felt like that was going to be the person you lived your entire life with. I know, I get it. She was different from the rest. She wasn't like the rest of the women. She was different. She was supposed to be different. I get it. I understand. But these things happen to the best of us. And if no one's told you this, I'm going to tell you, it's okay. All right? You're going to be okay. So let's go ahead and acknowledge the pain and accept it. You don't have to pretend it didn't happen. You can accept the pain so you can actually heal from it and move on. You can't do anything about it if you keep ignoring it. Too many people try to skip the, this part of the process, the part of acknowledging it, accepting it. They do things like distracting themselves with work, or they try to hurry up and hop into another relationship. They act cold. They essentially just try to bury it. And I'm going to tell you the truth, because I've seen this happen in other men. When you ignore heartbreak, it doesn't just disappear. No. What actually happens is you prolong the process. You'll be hopping in and out of all these different relationships, and you won't take any of those women seriously because you're still stuck on your ex. So you're not only wasting their time, but you're wasting your own, because you haven't come to a place where you can actually heal, because you're not even trying to acknowledge the fact that she hurt you. So I'll tell you this, before you move on and try to deal with other people, you have to allow yourself to admit that you were hurt and learn from it. You know, this is the only way to prevent yourself from experiencing heartbreak in the future, and learn from your mistakes. Because if you don't heal from it, it'll end up showing up in your next relationships. It'll show up as trust issues, or it'll show up as these gigantic walls that prevent you from even really getting close to anybody, out of the fear of getting so close to another person that they'll hurt you just like she did. So I just want you to know I've gone through it. Trust me. I know what it feels like to love somebody deeply. Then to have that love become the source of your pain. I know what it's like to feel like you just weren't enough, to question your own self worth and wonder, why wasn't I enough for her? But listen, I also know what it feels like to survive it and overcome it. And listen, before I get too deep into my personal experience, I want to acknowledge the fact that there will be a lot of men and women who may say, I am weak for sharing my experience. And here's my response to them: respectfully or disrespectfully, take it how you want to take it. Fuck you. And more importantly than that, you'd be weak to think that your opinion of me is strong enough to stop me from sharing my personal experience that could help millions of men that are going through this or will eventually go through this. And I am strong enough to accept whatever backlash may come my way. Now, with that being said, allow me to help you get through your heartbreak by sharing how I overcame heartbreak myself. The best way I found to get over heartbreak is to fall back in love with yourself. When I got heartbroken, I'm just gonna be honest, man. I trusted that woman and I thought that we were going to be together forever. I really did. But after what happened between us, I knew that that was no longer going to be the case. And I knew that the only way I was going to be able to continue to live a happy, fulfilling life is to pick myself up and fall back in love with myself, because I was a full person before I met her, and I knew that I would be a full person after I met her. So that allowed me to know and understand that I needed to keep going. So this is what I want you to do. I want you to fall back in love with yourself. Continue to do the things that make you feel whole. All right? Because just like me, you were a whole person, a whole human being, complete human being that didn't need anything before you met her. And even after her, you might feel like you lost a part of yourself, but you're okay. You're still a complete human being, even after that relationship is over. And whether it was their fault or your fault that the relationship is over, no longer matters. What matters is that you start by loving yourself again, because no matter who is at fault, you still have a broken heart and you still have to mend the pieces. She or anybody can't do that for you. Only you can do that for you. All right. So you start by doing things that you really enjoy. For me, it was basketball. Basketball is something that is not only competitive for me, but it's also something that's therapeutic. So I found I loved that before I met her, and I loved it during the relationship, and I loved it after. So that was one of my escapes, so to speak. You have to find your different escapes. You have to build your life back together. You have to put your heart back together, piece by piece. And then and only then can you ever love again. If you don't get over it, then essentially you won't be able to ever love anyone else. When you're stuck on that person, it's almost as if your heart literally doesn't work. That's why they call it being heartbroken. Your heart isn't in a place where it can really accept a new connection, because you're still dealing with the pain from your last heartbreak. All right. And I need you to know and understand that going through heartbreak doesn't make you weak. In fact, if you go through it and you try to act as if it didn't happen and ignore it, that's actually what makes you weak. Addressing it and learning the lessons from it and using it to move forward and doing what I'm doing, help other people get through it. That is what makes you strong. And it also can allow you to become wiser. And as I've said throughout this series, great trauma kills off the previous versions of you, but it gives you the golden opportunity to rebuild yourself up intentionally. And that's what heartbreak does. Heartbreak gives you a chance to create a new version of yourself. And this can be a better version. This can be a version that understands women better. This can be a version of yourself that recognizes the red flags and doesn't ignore them. This could be a version of you that knows what it looks like when you meet a woman that's fit for long-term commitment and what it doesn't look like. Part of the reason that I personally got heartbroken is because I did not know what I did not know. But after the pain, I learned a lot. And I want you to do the same. Use that pain as your curriculum. Use that pain as your tuition. If you went through all of this, man, you better make sure you learn something from it. Let's gonna be honest with you. If you went through all of that pain, better make sure you get a reward for your pain. Learn the lessons, grow, and make sure you never fall for the same manipulation, not the same tricks, or even ignore those same red flags. At some point, you have to learn and grow from these things to where you don't keep choosing the same type of woman. And I'm not saying that any of that happened to you. If it did, you know what to look out for. If it didn't, then maybe that part wasn't for you. What I am saying is make sure that when you go through it, you learn the lessons that ensure that you don't go through it again. And that you put yourself in position to heal properly. Because when you heal properly, you get to a place that I'm at where this point, even though I've gone through that, I'm at a place where I can love again. I can be happy again. And when I smile, it's not a fake smile. You know, when you get heartbroken, sometimes you find yourself smiling, but internally you're not actually happy, right? You want to get to a place where you actually feel that joy again, where you're actually happy again. And that only happens when you acknowledge the pain and actually put forth effort to heal it. All right. So we are at the point in the video where I give you all some advice. This is advice on how to heal from heartbreak. Advice number one, stop looking for your worth in their decision. One of the biggest lies that your brain tells you when you're experiencing heartbreak is if they left me, I must not be enough. But here's the thing, someone's inability to see your value does not determine your value. I'll say that again. This is very important. Please write this down. Someone's inability to see your value does not determine your value. You determine your value, not her. No matter what happened between y'all, you are still a valuable person. And whatever attracted her to you, once you build your confidence back up and you build your self worth back up and you start looking like yourself again, you'll be able to attract the next one. I'm just being honest. And I want you to know this too. Even though she made the decision she made, you have to understand this. People leave good people every day. People choose the wrong things in life every day. And people make self decisions that's going to hurt everybody but themselves every single day. And many of them make those decisions based on temporary emotions that tend to fade and they regret the decision they made and they try to come back to you. Now, if you let them back, that's on you. That's your choice. I'm just saying that the decision she made doesn't necessarily mean that you weren't worthy of love or that you weren't worthy of being with her. She might have made a mistake, but whether she did or didn't, it's on you to decide how you want to move forward. Okay? So understand that their choice is not proof that you are not worthy. It is proof that maybe they just wasn't your person. Maybe she just wasn't for you. And should you let her come back after she treated you like that is a decision that you'll have to make. But I want to make sure you know that your self-worth does not diminish based upon her decision. All right? Please understand that your self-worth is something you get to decide. All right. My second piece of advice to you all is we have to stop romanticizing what hurt us. All right? Don't romanticize what hurt you. When we miss somebody, we tend to often remember the good parts, remember the laughs, the memories, the good moments. But we forget the lies, we forget the disrespect, we forget the inconsistency, we forget the violence, and the many ways that they hurt us because it's too many to name. And when you forget that and only remember the good, you convince yourself that you should go back. But let's be honest. When you find yourself missing them, don't just remember them on their best days. Remember who they were on their worst days and the times that they hurt you. Because sometimes we are not missing the person, right? We're not missing her. We are missing the version of her that we hope that she would become. And that's the part that really is tough to deal with. Sometimes we're missing that version that we really thought she could become over time because we might have been with her for her potential. And I'm just gonna be honest here, right? This is a channel where I'll be honest to the audience. That part's on you, man. That part's on us. Sometimes we are the reason we get hurt. We tend to romanticize a woman who was never actually there to begin with. We tend to romanticize the woman that we projected her to be at a point. And we kind of have to grieve the fact that, wow, she's never going to become that woman for me. And she very may become that woman that you saw for someone else. And at the end of the day, there's nothing you can do about that. And that's okay, right? Because she was never that woman to begin with. You viewed her as that. And that's something that you got to stop doing. And I'm sure that after experiencing this pain, that you might actually learn that and stop romanticizing people in general. See people for who they are. All right. When you see those red flags, don't convince yourself that you can turn them green. People only change when they want to change. You can't change her. It's on her to do that work. Okay. But listen to this next piece of advice that I have for you, because I know this is something that you might need to hear. Don't run back to her. There's no easy way to say that. I'm being honest. Don't run back to her. Okay. Loneliness can make you want to go back, to text them, to call them, to give them another chance. But before you do that, ask yourself, are you going back to her because she changed? And if your honest answer to that question is no, then you shouldn't do it. Because you could be going back to her because she changed, or you can be going back to her because you miss her. Those two things are not the same thing. And missing someone does not mean that they are good for you. And on top of that, you should not confuse missing them to you needing them. I'm just going to be honest. Sometimes the strongest thing that you can do is stay far away from her. Stay far away from that woman that broke your heart. And you might need to implement the no contact rule. Now, I won't expound too much upon that in this video because there's a lot of different videos that you can watch. Just type in no contact rule on YouTube and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But moving forward, we must touch on the advice that I gave you in the beginning of this episode when I shared my story. You need to pour that love that you have for her back into yourself at this point. You gave her energy, you gave her time, you gave her your attention, you gave her your love. And now you need to give that all back to yourself. You need to go to the gym, man. You need to plan more, build on your goals, read more books, travel more, learn something new, acquire a new skill, spend some time with people who truly care about you, and become that version of yourself that heartbreak tried to destroy. Because I'll give you a bonus tip here. Nothing makes an ex regret losing you more than you actually leveling up after she left your life. That's a bonus tip. And honestly, it really works. I'm not saying that to be petty here. I'm saying that for you to get back to you. But we're just going to be honest. That's a way, if you wanted to get any form of revenge, that is a way to do it. Just go be successful without her. Go work on you. All right? Don't let heartbreak destroy you. Let it build you. All right? And understand this. Like most traumas, especially the ones that deal with losing people, it's not going to happen in a linear line, so to speak. Like there's not going to be, all right, I'm hurt, I'm good, I accepted it, I'm past it. No, some days you're going to feel okay. Other days you're going to feel terrible, because it can get triggered from anything. It could be the favorite song that you guys listen to. That might trigger you missing her. Picture of her might come across your timeline. That might trigger you missing her. You might just have a memory of the two things that you did. Like you might go somewhere and that might be a place that you used to always go together with her. And that might trigger the memories to come back, flooding your mind. But you got to understand, like, that's part of the healing process. That doesn't mean you're failing. It doesn't mean that you are going backwards. Healing from heartbreak is just not easy. It can come back in cycles. And you're going to have good days. You're going to have bad days. It's all a part of it. And the important thing is that you keep moving forward no matter what. All right. Finally, I want to make you all aware of this because this is very important. Love makes you question yourself in the woman. All right. This might be funny for y'all, but I'm just being honest. You come with all these questions, right? And many of them are terrible. So, heartbreak has a way of making you ask dangerous questions, risky questions, questions that you might be afraid of the answer, but you ask anyways. So, you ask questions like, what did they have that I didn't? You might be asking yourself, or you might ask her. Or, why wasn't I enough? Again, you might ask yourself, or you might ask her. And then here's the most terrible question you could ask in general, but so many of us do. Was he better than me in bed? And I just gotta tell you something, man, because I get it. I've been there. Let's just be real. There are no good answers to any of these questions, especially that last one. Nothing she says is gonna make you feel better. Nothing she could possibly tell you once you ask her that question is going to make you feel better. There's no good answer. There's no good answer. Because no matter what, you have to accept the fact that if you're asking that question to begin with, she's been with someone else. So nothing she says is going to make you feel any better. So before you ask any of these questions, ask yourself, do you really want to know the answer? And if you do, hey, don't listen to me. You don't have to listen to me in this video. All I say is don't get deep in your feelings when you hear what she says. Because I'm telling you now, no matter what she says to those questions, it won't make you feel any better. So I'd err on the side of caution and tell you to avoid asking such questions to begin with. Okay? So please understand this. The right woman will not make you feel like you have to earn basic love, respect, and loyalty. The right woman will not constantly make you question where you stand in her life. And if your ex made you feel like you had to become less of yourself to keep her, then losing her may have actually protected you and been a good thing. In closing, as we close, I'd like you to know that I've been where you are. I know heartbreak can make it feel like your world is over, but I promise you, it is not. There is life after heartbreak. There is peace after heartbreak. And yes, I know you might not think it right now, but there can be love after heartbreak. But first, you have to heal and recapture the love you once had for yourself. And start becoming the person you were always meant to be. And when you do that, guess what? One day you are going to look back at this season of your life, and instead of asking, why did this happen to me? You'll be saying things like, I appreciate that pain. And you might view it as a blessing because guess what it did? It made you stronger, made you wiser, made you somebody who is capable of helping others now. Look at what I've turned this pain into. It's the reason I became a better man. And that's the beauty in overcoming the heartbreak monster. It can birth a better you. So, in conclusion, I want you all to know that I love you and I'm rooting for you. And I would love if you commented, if you liked the video, and if you shared this episode, if it helped you. Because maybe it can help somebody else just like you. Maybe they're dealing with heartbreak as well. Because as you know, over here, we are on a mission to change the world one person at a time. And we don't do that when you don't share videos. So I just ask that you kindly share the video if you found this content helpful. Because when you do that, you are doing your part. I appreciate you in advance. And until next time, be well. Amen.